Hi, this is Dave Shapton from RedShark, and this is our third day live from NAB, from the show floor. I'm delighted to say I've got Jesse with me, who is the CEO of Livestream, an incredibly cool company from an incredibly cool Brooklyn. Wonderful offices. I really enjoyed coming there, and we're going to talk about the company Livestream, what they do, what their background is, and what they're aiming for in the future. It's a really interesting company, and I think the whole area of live streaming is mushrooming, isn't it? It's kind of almost exponential in terms of the number of people who are thinking about live streaming.
Yeah, I think so. I think right now what you have is that consumers expect any event that they can attend to be available live online. So
Yes.
The demand curve is way up here,
Yeah.
but the supply curve is still down here. Folks that are live streaming today in many ways are still early adopters, but businesses are realizing slowly but surely that the consumer demand is there, and if they don't meet it, they're going to be left behind very quickly.
Yeah, okay, so you know, in a sense you're in the right place at the right time, but your approach to this is an interesting one, because you have a range of hardware as well as your software services and your hosting services. I first came across it's called the Mevo, isn't it? Mevo?
Yep.
I first came across that, and I was almost dismissive, because I thought it's just another web camera. And then one of my colleagues was using it, and he said, oh, you can do that, you can do that. And then I saw your promotional video for it. It was some kind of cookery program, I think.
Yeah.
And with this device, you can, it behaves like multiple cameras. I think it has a 4K sensor,
Yep.
and then you can define different areas of the image, and it just behaves like a whole studio, a whole multicam studio.
Yeah, what we think about is that there's a journey as someone begins live streaming, and it starts with using your phone, which is really simple and really convenient, but the phone is only good for short serendipitous moments. It's really hard
Yes.
to do long form video holding up a phone, and even if you put a phone on a tripod, nobody wants to watch one shot for 30 minutes. So the Mevo is meant to be the first step on the live streaming journey when you want to start using different camera angles to tell your story. And then we have a whole suite of hardware and software products that lets you move up the value chain as you
So as you
become
move
more
up the value chain,
sophisticated.
what are the next stages in terms of the hardware and the services?
Yeah, so a lot of what we do is built around the Mevo, so starting with one Mevo and a phone, which is a very simple production. Then it might be starting to use simple switching software to bring in Mevo and a remote source, all the way up to what we have here at our booth at NAB, which is an 11 Mevo shoot, all being broadcast over IP, coming into our switcher, and being mixed with remote sources as well.
So in a sense, you have almost every scenario covered.
Yeah, we want to take you from a low-cost, easy-to-use solution all the way up to full TV production.
Okay, now obviously a lot of people are starting to get interested in live streaming since Facebook Live.
Yep.
How do you distinguish yourselves from Facebook Live?
Yeah, so Facebook Live's has actually been great for our business because we're a B2B company, and people are getting exposed to live video and starting to think about how can I use this in my business or my church or at my school, and they're calling us to discuss that, which is a great opening conversation. We've been very focused in the first half of the year to make the Livestream cloud service a central dashboard for all your live video everywhere on the web. So if you use Livestream as your streaming platform, you can simulcast your content to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and then we will aggregate all the analytics so you can see how your live video is performing in one place.
Okay, so you clearly have some essential elements there that you don't get by streaming directly to Facebook. You've got the analytics, which ultimately are vital if you're going to improve your performance, and maybe that you need to show these analytics to maybe sponsors or
your boss.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And you know, in a sense, so you're offering a kind of meta service, aren't you? Because also you're looking at we've done live streams using your service, and there's very useful client that gives the user experience, and you get a kind of chat facility built into it. You get a countdown. It's a very nice experience when you watch a live stream.
Yeah, we want to give you the tools to get your live video content wherever your audience is.
Yes.
That might mean using our player, that might mean using our APIs with your own player or in your own apps or website.
So you can brand the
Absolutely.
experience completely. You can kind of, you provide a white label service.
And that might also mean pushing it out to other platforms. What our most creative customers have figured out, you don't want to build your castle on someone else's land. So you don't want to put all your content on Facebook because then Facebook owns your audience and everything. But you want to take advantage of what Facebook's great at, is reach, the ability to ping all your followers and get people to tune into a live broadcast. So our most creative customers are doing one of two things. If they have an event with multiple streams, they'll send one stream to Facebook with a CTA saying, come back and get the full experience on my website. The other thing we're seeing customers doing is they'll send the first 20 minutes of a stream to Facebook Live, and then they'll end it with a slate, come back and get the full experience, but they want that on their website, on their property, so that they can get the customer information, et cetera.
So this is, I mean, this is a thing that we've thought about as an online publication at RedShark, which is how do you get the page impressions when you're using Facebook? But this would be a means to do it.
Yeah, you can leverage Facebook for what it's great at, which is reaching people and getting really strong word of mouth and really strong reach without sacrificing your business goals or your organization's goals or your creative goals, and making sure that those eyeballs come back to you as well.
Yeah. And how far do you think the trends are going to go? I mean, like in 5 years' time, I'm not asking you to predict in 5 years' time, but just maybe look at the trends. Things are changing so quickly that 5 years is a ridiculous...
It's a very long time.
Yeah. But where is all of this taking us?
Yeah, so we're focused on two things in the future, immersion and interactivity. So how do we get the viewer an experience that makes them feel like they're part of the action, that they're on the stage, that they're participating, and whether that's traditional cameras or 360 or whatever comes next, the ability to see things from the audience's point of view, from the band's point of view, from the groupie's point of view off stage. So really an immersion experience, and then interactivity, the ability to choose your viewing experience, but also the ability to interact with other people watching. The power of live video is the immediacy and the urgency and the shared experience, right?
It's the authenticity as well.
Yeah, and the emotional connection you have with other people watching it. It's a community experience. But if you're just watching a video passively, you're missing out on that interactivity and that shared experience. So how can we connect the audience to each other?
So your ultimate goal, I think you essentially just said this in a different way. Your ultimate goal would be for the viewer to feel like they were there. They can turn around, they can look all around them, they can interact with people at the venue, at the remote venue.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
Quite possibly. It's going to be a very interesting couple of years.
No, I mean, it's understood the technology is not there yet, but I mean, I think one of the things that's going to really make this possible is 5G cellular.
Yep.
Well, 5G is not just cellular; it's like integrating all
ubiquitous.
Fat bandwidth and hopefully reliable.
Yep.
That's going to make a huge difference because we'll have multi-gigabit connectivity almost everywhere on the planet.
Without the drama of Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So at that point, I mean, I know this sounds very science fiction-y, but at that point, we're almost going to have like a collective consciousness through streaming. It's going to be like everybody's connected. And this is way ahead, but it will probably arrive sooner than we think. But
and you've got to create tools so that anybody can be a broadcaster. And the consumer expectation is it's going to look like TV, regardless of what device it's on. Now, so how do you make the tools so easy that anybody can create near TV quality production with simple tools that anyone can understand?
Now you've actually touched on a very important point there, which is that however good your tools are, and they are very good, you still need to take care of the basics. You still need to have good audio, good lighting.
Let's go even further back. You need to have great content. You need to have a well-prepared talent who rehearses before they go live so that the live experience is high quality.
We learned all about this when we did that stream from your premises in Brooklyn, and Amber was ruthless in rehearsing us.
Yeah.
It was like, I was like, oh, I'll be all right, don't worry. It's you will turn up to this rehearsal, you will do this, and you know what, that really works. So I think these core values, these core prerequisites of a broadcast, you have to get these right, and if you do, it can be very good indeed. If you neglect them, then it's just not going to work. And I always harp on about this, but you can't neglect these basic points. And as you said, you need to rehearse. You need to have some idea of what you're going to be doing. I think it's a very, very good discipline.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, look. Thanks very much for coming.
My pleasure.
It's fascinating to talk to you. I think it's a great company. You've got very good ideas, good products. I can't wait to see what happens in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Pleasure.
We'll be back in a minute. We'll see you then. Hi, welcome back to RedShark segment of the NAB show, live from the show floor at NAB 2017. I'm delighted to have Alan Hoff from Avid with me. One of the most spectacular press conferences of the annual cycle is Avid's. It's enormous, and it must take an incredible amount of preparation, but it's an amazing show. And as ever, there's lots to talk about and lots to think about.
Yeah, it's quite a dramatic setting for those who may not be familiar with. This is the annual Avid Customer Association get-together. It's a 3-day conference that precedes NAB, and we had over 1,300 folks in the room, and this is what you were a part of, and it's just such excitement and drama, as we're announcing all the things we're announcing. And so, yeah, we had a lot to say this year. So, where would you like to start?
It was packed.
Yes.
Well, from our readers' point of view, a huge percentage of our readers are editors. A large percentage are students just starting out.
Yep.
So, I think one of the most relevant announcements was the Media Composer First.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
So, Media Composer First was announced as being available in June, and what we were surprised by, it was one of the announcements that got one of the greatest responses. If you were in the room, you heard there was like especially when they started to see the demonstration of the new features. So what we've done with Media Composer First is we've taken all of the power of the Media Composer editorial tool set and made it a little bit more accessible. We've added some special ease of use things that we think the Avid trained editor would benefit from. So everything from a source browser to hover scrub to pre-built effects and pre-built titles, and it automatically knows by the media that you've first brought in what the project type needs to be.
Yes.
So you don't have to be an expert in file types and things like that. So what we see here is something very similar to what we did on the Pro Tools product side, where we have been offering a first version of Pro Tools now for a couple of years, and we've had over 500,000 downloads of this, and we see that folks really do want to go from the free version to the full version with great regularity. So we're giving away something that is absolutely very useful. It's not restricted in any kind of meaningful way. You get 4 tracks of video with the Media Composer First, you get 8 tracks of audio, and it's a phenomenal offer.
It's a useful stepping stone because, as you say, Media Composer is a mature product, and there's a learning curve.
Yes.
With it.
Yes.
And if you merely had a free version where you disabled a few features,
right,
it's still going to have the same learning curve, isn't
That's
it?
Right.
Whereas
That's right.
with the demonstration we saw, there's some really helpful stages that have been put in.
Yes.
Hints and clues.
Yes.
So you're never likely to get really stuck.
So much so that the trained Media Composer editors are saying, I want that in my version as well.
Yes.
So we will be migrating some of that stuff in there. So I can touch on a few other things directly related to editing,
Please,
if you'd be so kind. So a big announcement at the show was our partnership with Microsoft, and the fact that we have chosen Microsoft Azure as our preferred cloud provider as we're moving the entire Avid Media Central platform to the cloud. Now what that means is we can now have great flexibility for our customers, whether they want to work in traditional on-premises or perhaps put some of their workflows and tools into a private data center, or of course put them up in the public cloud altogether, should they choose to. And some of the first innovations we announced from the editorial perspective with the cloud are 2 different things. The first is called Media Composer Cloud Remote, which allows Media Composer editors to have a full-blown Media Composer local on their laptop or desktop, what have you, and then reach into the cloud to do all the editing. So they can pull whatever media they need, first in a proxy manner, and they can also choose to pull the full res down if they want to. They can be anywhere, editing wherever the material is located. So that's a great convenience, and that's called Cloud Remote. The other is the Cloud VM option, with VM for virtual machine, which is sort of the opposite in that I can have a lightweight Media Composer client running, of course, on I've seen it run on iPads. It's not designed yet for swipeable iPad usage.
Just as an illustration.
Exactly. You can do it and have access to the full-blown installed Media Composer wherever it might be, whether it's in the private data center or in the public cloud. Again, both of these are providing greater flexibility for creative teams, post houses, large media enterprises to scale capacity of production as they need to, by project. So they don't have to have a bunch of dedicated rooms all kitted out and paying for that real estate and paying for all that capital equipment. They pay as they go, as they need. So that's one of the great early obvious benefits of moving to the cloud. One of the things that we did through this process of choosing a cloud provider is we talked to all the major players out there, and it was very interesting that the continuum of philosophies of approach to the cloud that are out there, and we felt that Microsoft had the greatest alignment with Avid's philosophy in terms of approach to the cloud, which is, in the media and entertainment industry, it's completely impractical to think that somehow overnight you're going to become a completely cloud-based facility. You can't just say, oh, I want to be all in the cloud, and then overnight, forget about your capital investments that you've made, et cetera. You need to take a far more planful and pragmatic approach where you, over time, are choosing certain parts of your workflows that would most benefit from the cloud that you can afford to take at your own pace and migrate those things in a logical manner, as opposed to saying, well, I got to go to the cloud and rush into that and maybe deal with a lot of pioneer learning curve that you don't need to contend with. There's plenty of stuff that's already been worked out, so editing being one of them.
Being able to smoothly transition, do it in a measured, gradual way.
Yes.
Testing it at every stage, that's ideal. I can see why people would want to go that way.
Exactly.
Can we just talk a bit about Avid Everywhere?
Yes.
It's a fascinating concept. I think the concept comes from the IT industry originally, that you have I think what they call a service-oriented architecture.
Correct.
And it's very interesting to see this philosophy adopted in our industry, because our industry has very specific requirements that go way beyond a typical IT infrastructure, namely bandwidth.
Yes.
And precision, because if you're collaborating with people, it has to be frame accurate or even sample accurate.
Yes.
So broadly speaking, I think of Avid now as having two levels. There's the micro level, which is the products, and there's the macro level, which is Avid Everywhere.
Yes.
And having worked with some of these earlier iterations with other companies, one of the biggest questions that keeps coming up is, I don't want to give up some of my favorite tools and have to use only Avid tools. And I know from conversations I've been having with your CEO that you're fully able to integrate with non-Avid technology. And I think that's an incredibly important barrier to get over for people to understand how they're going to live within the world of Avid Everywhere.
Indeed. Great point. So I'll just let you get a quick insight as to the overall philosophy of approach that, frankly, Luis Hernandez Jr. brought to the company, which is that it's just building a better mousetrap was not what was going to be what the industry needed long term. So while it's very important that we have the best and most comprehensive set of creative tools in the industry, that alone isn't going to do what the industry needs to have done, which is the creation of a platform that is helping to aggregate the various standards and various product offerings from all the companies in a unified and tightly integrated fashion. And that's where we've arrived. 4 years since the original launch of Avid Everywhere, we now, with the Media Central platform, have the industry's most tightly integrated and open platform, and we feel that puts us in an imminent best position to help our customers move to the cloud. For everything that is on our platform, including our partner products, are now in the process of being adapted for Microsoft Azure. And that's really exciting stuff. So with regard to the openness, so a year ago we announced that the Adobe Premiere Pro Creative Cloud version was directly integrated into the platform as in a very meaningful manner, in that working inside Premiere Pro, I could have a window that looked right directly into my Interplay asset store, and I could drag and drop my assets directly from an Avid Interplay environment into Premiere Pro. This year we've done something similar with another former rival, EVS. EVS, who's the industry standard for sports replay, playback, slow motion replay, etc. They used our connectivity toolkit, which is what our partners utilize to connect into the platform, to create a connector that inside the Media Central window, again, I have access to all of those assets on the EVS store as if they're native Avid, so I can search, browse, playback, etc. So all of these are part of the benefits of creating a platform. And again, this was what Lewis had in mind 4 years ago when he announced it, and it was very forward-looking at the time. It's here now, and now we're able to take it to the cloud, which is perfect.
And I think one of the hurdles you have to get over is that nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I've got to get some Avid everywhere.
Right.
They'll wake up and they say, I've got to
Right.
get MIDI composer, I've got to get Pro Tools, I've got to get a live mixing
Yeah, their
console.
relationship was with Pro Tools, not with a platform.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But I think it's a little bit like building an aircraft. You know, if you only have an aircraft wing, it's effectively scrap metal. When you have the rest of the aircraft,
Yes.
it's a thing of wonder. And
Right.
I think you're probably approaching the stage where it becomes a thing of wonder.
Yeah, I agree. And you just need to look no further than the amount of adoption, both not just by end users, but by partners. So the partners have said, it is worth my time, money, effort to prioritize on my product roadmap to do the integration with the platform, because I see how it is benefiting our mutual customers. And that's what, again, is the power of the platform to help our customers.
Okay, so here's an impossible question. Where do you see Avid in 5 years' time? And I don't expect you to be able to answer that because nobody can, but what are your feelings about the trends?
So I think that, especially with the advent of the cloud, and as it's just going to get more and more powerful and greater bandwidth, you're going to see a truly dynamic pay-as-you-go sort of environment where I need this tool, but I don't need it all the time, so I'm just going to effectively rent it for this period of time. And all of these monolithic applications, and Avid has quite a few of them herself that were built of a certain era, they will by that point in time have fully migrated to the cloud. So there's no longer imposition as, oh, this was one of those things they acquired from this company and this kind of, all of that complexity will be hidden from the customer. It will be very user friendly. It'll be as easy to use as buying something from the Amazon website.
Yes.
I really believe that, no matter how complex it is.
And with the complexity being hidden, it'll leave space for the creative talent.
And because it'll be in the cloud, you'll be able to tap into artificial intelligence and machine learning and all the power of just all that incredible data crunching, and it'll just make the creative process that much easier.
We're out of time.
But we are.
Thanks ever so much.
My
really
pleasure,
interesting.
David. Very nice to spend time
Thanks
with you.
everyone. Thanks for watching for these last 3 days. It's been great. Thanks to Teradek as well. See you soon.